Yeah, hi there, and welcome back. So let us continue. And today we'll go and see about the skip operator. So if you go to the skip operator, it says that it suppress the first n item, which means that we need to pass the value over here for the n and items emitted by the observable. So let's say the observable is emitting 1, 2, 3, 4 items, and we say we skip the 2. So skip 2 that means that 1 and 2 is skipped and we get the 3 and 4 on our observer. So when we observe it, we get 3 and 4, but the first initial value of 1 and 2 is skipped. So let's go back to our project over here, and let me go back to the operator over here, and let's make use of the user list. And I will just copy this function. Let me copy and paste it over here. So this should be of the skip operator, and from iterable we say the m user list. We have up to 8 items. So let's skip the first and the second item. So I'll go back to the activity over here, and let me comment out, or let me copy the whole thing. So just comment this one out, and let me paste it below over here. And then we say this one as a skip operator, and on the skip operator we want to skip, right? So dot skip, so we get a count and we pass. Let's say we want to skip a 2, and then we should skip the first. Let's go over here and if you check, first 2 will be skipped. And so let us run our application, and let us go to the logcat over here. And you can see that we get the skip 3. We get the from the ID from 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And then if you take a look, we have to skip the value of 2. And then we can also remove the distinct, like what we have said over here. Remove the distinct. So if you want to remove the distinct, you can still call the distinct after skip. Then we call this distinct. So skip and distinct. So that should give the distinct value with the skip of the 2. First initial of the 2 is skipped. So you can see that we skip the 2 and we don't get the duplicate value over here. And then let's make use of another. Let us comment that skip 2, and let us say skip last. We can see that skip last is there, and skip last count is there, right? And skip while there's a lot of available option for us. And we will say that if you go back to the documentation, and if we go over here and skip last, let's take a look at the skip last 2, and it says that suppress the final n items emitted by the observable, which means that we pass this skip last, and value is the same as the skip first, which will skip the last value. So it's in the reverse order. So if I go back to our project over here, and if I say that skip last and I give the count of the 2, so 2 should be skipped from there. And let us try to run our application first, and let me go to the logcat. Yeah, 7 is skipped, and let's go back to our list. The last 2 is skipped over here. And then we have applied the distinct operator. I think this should, if we applied on the top before the skip, let us try to run. So let us see what happens when we apply this distinct on before the skip last. We get the, if we go now, you can check that this 3 is skipped because this is already distinct. So we get only 1, and then the 7 and 8 is skipped over there. So I hope you can see correctly over here. We get a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and 7 and 8 is skipped because this 2 is a distinct, so it will filter out only 1. So this 2 will be skipped. If you take a look over here, what we have implemented. So we set a distinct first, then that means the last 8 is skipped already, and then we get a skip last 2. So I hope you guys got it. And let us take another example over here. So let me comment out this one and this one too. So there is another option skip, which takes the two parameters. One is the time and the time unit. So if I go to the implementation of the skip, we will go to the observable, this one. So let's go to this one. We will take a long and the time unit. So if I go over here, skip the time and the time unit, is that the length of the time window to skip. So if you want to skip some amount of, let's say I want to skip for 1 second or 1 millisecond or 1 microsecond, so we can skip the based on the timing over here, not the count of the item particularly. Previously we did skip on the count of the item, so first and second item was skipped, but here we can also set give the timing to skip the item. So let's say I want to skip for the 3 seconds, 2 seconds, so we can provide that particular skip of the amount. So here returns an observable that skips values emitted by the current observable before a specified time window. So if we can specify the time over here. So let's go and implement that one. So that's really interesting, right? So I say as 2 and 2, let's say time util second. So I think second is too much because we have only around 8 items. So 8 items should be around a millisecond. So I think you guys can play around with it. I think the time millisecond should be enough over here. But sometimes I think we get and sometimes we will not get over here. That depends on particularly execution of the timing. And you can see sometimes we are getting and sometimes we are not getting that one. So you can just, I hope you guys understand the topic over here, the skip based on the timing. So that's the main thing that you have to take a note. So we can also give a count of how many items we want to skip, and we can also give skip the timing based on the timing, right? So that's all, and I hope you enjoyed it. So let's meet up in the next lecture. Till then, have a great day.